E. Not sure what that means, but... Now, before we dive in, just a quick reminder. This video is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and should not be considered financial advice. Our full disclaimer is shown here and on our website. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Finance with Anthony. So today we're going to be discussing a few key items around housing and how to actually build wealth for your future. So let's dive right into some stories right here on the Personal Finance channel here in Reddit. So the very first question asks, at 6.75% interest rate and almost 29 years left in mortgage, does it make sense to make extra payments towards principal or invest in brokerage? E. Not sure what that means, but yeah, so overall, what I will say is it actually depends on the person, but in most cases, I will say paying down your principal is very safe, in my opinion. That's a very safe return on your investment. So because for every dollar of for every dollar of principal that you pay down, you actually get less interest charge every month. Pretty common. As your principal goes down, your interest payments go down. Now, on top of that, in most cases, if you have the ability to itemize interest from your mortgage, you actually get some tax incentives there as well. Now, on the flip side, if you decide to actually go through like a brokerage account and start to invest in stocks, you can actually, of course, you can invest in individual stocks, ETFs, or invest in real estate investment trusts. All these kinds of options are available. But on top of that, depending on what type of brokerage you use, you might actually incur a fee as well. So on top of you not really having any tax benefits for investing in these kinds of items, you will also have to pay a fee in a lot of cases. Now, of course, investing in stock is a great option as well. However, it all depends on your future prospects. Do you want to actually continue to pay down your mortgage over 30 years, or do you want to pay that down right away? In most cases, it's a lot riskier to try to pay down over 30 years, considering how job stability is not there like it used to be. So overall, paying down your mortgage would probably be the best and least risky investment you can do, and with guaranteed returns. Alrighty, so let's move on to the next question. Would you commute an hour each way for free rent? I have an opportunity to commute 2 hours a day for free rent. My job is asking me to return to the office. I am either going to buy a small house 20 minutes away from my workplace in a cool neighborhood, or commute 1 hour each way and save more cash. I would put 50% down on the house, keep my DTI below 36%. With DTI, by the way, means debt to income ratio, and still have an emergency fund. But the idea of living rent-free and stacking more money is appealing. Just not sure if it's worth driving 2 hours a day. So this is a very interesting take overall. So I would say I would actually do a hybrid method where if you do decide to actually buy the house, and because effectively if you're living rent-free and you have the ability to buy the house, you can actually take advantage of that where effectively you could have the best of both worlds. Where if you have the ability to live rent-free, you don't have to worry about that kind of expense. And on top of that, if you buy the house, you can actually think about converting that into a rental property in the meantime to continue to grow your wealth. And the great thing about owning a home is that all the expenses associated with the home will be deductible when you actually rent it. So that'll be like the utility bills, any taxes, any interest, all that fun stuff will be available to you if you decide to tap into it. So I would say in your situation, that's probably the best means for you to actually build long-term wealth, as well as to continue to make the best of the means you have. Now, in terms of the 2 hour commute, I completely understand, driving for 2 hours kind of sucks. But the thing about the world is if you make sacrifices now, then you can actually help your future self be in a better position, which is what we all want. So moving on to the next one. How can I make more money? Hi all, I'm a single mom of a 6-year-old. I make just over $40K a year. My rent is going up to $1,200. I pay almost $1K in my car and insurance. I have credit card debt of $3,500 from lawyer fees. I commute 45 minutes to my government job. I want to be way more financially free and go back to school for either finance or holistic health. I'm emotionally and physically exhausted with how much I work for the pay I receive with barely any time to myself or my child. I put away my tax money to start having a savings. I want for it to accumulate, but I don't know where to start. Any advice? So this is a very important thing that you're going through right now in terms of hey, how do I make more money? So in most cases nowadays, it's I'm going to say that the first key thing you need to do is research. Which roles are being hired for the most at the moment? Which roles are in demand? That's the first thing you need to do. The second thing is you need to figure out like how can you get more experience in that kind of area. So in most cases, an easy example would be like, let's say your accounting is pretty in demand right now. What are the requirements to be an accountant? For example, do you need a certain degree? Do you need a certain license, for example? Do you need to actually have a certain amount of experience? All of these factors will contribute to your success as an accountant, for example. Another important item to note is to make sure you go to the right school. In some cases now, you could actually do online schooling if you decide to not want to go into the school itself. So there are plenty of online courses that you can take, online colleges, online universities. In some cases, depending on your income, you can actually get assistance with this, financial assistance as well. So overall, building up your education and being able to actually make something, make, how do I say this? A better version of yourself is always going to exceed expectations in terms of how much money you can make. So if you have the ability to earn more degrees, earn more licenses, and actually get the required experience that employers are looking for, then that will make you the catch of the day for them. So overall, this is my advice for you. So, hopefully this will help you to land your next goal.
Hello everyone, my name is Anthony and I'm the host of TheLostSanctuary. I hope you've been enjoying our content so far, and if you have, please feel free to like and subscribe. Also, we have our website up here, and we also have some socials down here, and as always, leave your comments down below.
When does house poor no longer matter? The general guidelines is that you shouldn't spend more than 30% of your income on rent or mortgage, but that assumes all of your other expenses increase proportionally as your income increases. Lifestyle creep is real, but someone making $220K per year doesn't necessarily have 2x the expenses as someone making $60K per year. Is there a certain income level where exceeding the rent/mortgage guidelines is okay? So this is a tough one. So as someone, for example, who's house poor myself, I would say it depends on like what you're comfortable, feeling the heat, if that makes sense. So it's usually riskier to, for your mortgage to actually exceed 30% of your income. And the reason for that is because, God forbid, if you lose your job, you want to have an emergency that's well equipped to be able to pay your mortgage for 6 to 12 months. And it becomes more difficult as your mortgage payment is so much higher than your income, or even almost 100% of your income. So you effectively don't want to be too risky, because depending on how much of your emergency funds you have, that could actually cause you to lose your house if you God forbid lose your job. So overall, I would say 30% is a great rule of thumb for your mortgage to be. However, if it's a multifamily property and you're able to rent a couple of the units, then you could supplement not just your own income with this rent, but make it a lot more feasible for you to continue to pay down the home. So if you're okay with living with a couple of tenants, getting a 2 to 4 family house will probably benefit you, where you can actually limit the amount of money that's coming out of your own pocket. So hopefully that helps, and let's move on to the next one. 25-year-old with 10K saved. Times are hard out here, so I've never purchased an apartment and had the luxury to stay home while saving. And I'm now itching to have my own place. However, once I save 10K to do so, I realize I'd rather invest and travel with this money than pour it into bills and rent. I've always wanted to spend a few weeks on a Spanish-speaking island/country and learn the language. My question is if right now is the best time to do that, or is that irresponsibility financially? Any advice? I have about 30K investment so far too, but I'm not touching it. I'm letting it grow until I hit retirement age. So this is the conundrum that we probably all go through every year or throughout our lives. So I would say don't limit yourself to only investing and thinking about retirement. So I would say if you spend 10 to 20% of your income on luxury things, so for example, going on vacations or doing the things you love, like playing video games, collecting card games, whatever it is that you're into, I think that is okay. sometimes it feels like it's not okay to spend irresponsibly, but think about it this way. The very old, saying says like, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So that's very common, very, very common to do that. And that's not something you want to do for yourself because you'll be miserable. It's better to have some happiness with a little less money than to keep all of your money under your mattress or locked away in a bank account and be miserable. Misery leads to you being unhappy, which deteriorates your mental health, and which effectively makes it so you don't even want to even go to work or earn more money. So overall, it's okay to take a break for every now and then, especially when you're young and have the ability to do so. So definitely go out there, make some memories, and make things happen for yourself. So let's move on to the next one. 401k never match at all when supposed to. Hey guys, I have a question in regards to the situation my mom is going through with her employer, and was maybe hoping for some feedback and insight what she is possibly able to do. So my mom is someone who doesn't really know much of anything when it comes to finance, and recently I took a look at her 401k and been managing it since. I noticed that her employer hasn't matched her the 3% full 100% and the 2% on top of that at 50% since she was employed from 2012 and onward. Wow, that's a long time. So today we called the benefits department. They opened up a ticket to find out what happened. I just wanted to get some possible feedback on what you can possibly do since she did lose a lot of time in the market, which equals a hefty amount of money, plus never been matched all this time, which is honestly a little bit absurd and suspicious. Thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to read this and taking some time to respond. So this is actually a pretty important thing to mention. So overall, in this situation, legally, the employer is obligated to not just return the funds that they were owed, for example, the 3% and the 2% at 50%, but they have to also return any gains on average that your mom would have made throughout that time. So essentially, if she would have made an average of 5 to 6% on average over these years, then the employer must make this whole. And sometimes they even need to actually get a professional to actually analyze what the money would have been worth effectively right now at a 5, 6, 7% range, and they'll have to reimburse all of that back to your mom. So overall, it is the employer's responsibility to make your mom whole. Make sure you fight this case, and sometimes there are employment lawyers that can help you with this if worse comes to worse. But overall, she is entitled to get all these contributions back, because if the employer does not give it back, it will be considered wage theft. And that's not something that the employer wants to have on their record. Alrighty, everyone. And that will be Finance with Anthony, episode 13. I hope everyone out there has a blessed day, and adios. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job, and I'm wishing everyone out there all the best. Alright, until next time, adios.